Can professionals climb the political ladder without playing political games? You want the straight answer? The answer is no. Office politics is an interesting topic, and very many times people wonder, is office politics bad? Is it something that we must be a part of? What I'd like to tell you that office politics is all about the entire system. It is there, whether you like it or not. As long as humans are involved, there's one form of politicking or the other. I mean, man, as they say, is a political animal. But that said, let's begin to frame this within the context of how office politics evolves. It could be a function of interpersonal games, number one. Number two, it could be a function of what I call leadership games. And number three, could be a function of organizational games. So let me piece this and put it all apart. How do these three elements come together? Take a typical organization that has a multinational setting. Now, the goals of that organization will be set by corporate, right? So they'll call the corporate headquarters, could be in some other country, could be in some other jurisdiction. And the management team will fix what you would call the key parameters for the year based on stakeholder engagements and based on where the company is going. That singular act presupposes that they are going to say to the world, including of course, most of these companies are PLCs, public limited companies, and global companies. So for instance, they want to grow top line by X%, and they're expecting that they will have Y% profit, earnings per share will be X. Those parameters begin the process. And in doing that, they expect that different countries or entities that support corporate, as it were, would come to the party with their own submissions in order for them to meet their goals. So you can see where the game starts. The game starts at that level, and then it migrates to the point where, how does the leadership game start? It starts when the man appointed at the helm of affairs will say to himself, I need certain people who I trust to deliver these goods. So let's assume it's a multinational and they probably have different groups. There's Africa, there's Asia, there's Latin America, there's America, and all of that. You'll find that the head of the entire group will, of necessity, appoint his or her own men that will champion the affairs in those groups. Now, that's the beginning of it. Why? Because they trust that this person will deliver and they can make the agenda happen. When you get into that entity, so let's assume now Nigeria or Africa is within that context, and the Africa head needs to deliver the portion of Africa's contribution to corporate, he will pick the leaders that are within the regions in Africa that can help him. That process engages what I call the leadership games. Now, the leadership game starts when you have to look for your own, who you believe and you trust, have what it takes to deliver the goods at the end of the day. That leadership game will ultimately lead to interpersonal games. So who and who am I going to have in my ship? And this is where the entire frame of office politics can kick in. Office politics is not bad, but there are dimensions to it. The dimensions will now come as a result of the culture. Now, I can speak to 4 types of environment that exist because of how this culture would have metamorphosed into the play at every level. So you can have a minimally politicized environment. I mean, in such environments, there isn't so much at stake. I mean, this is what you get typically when you're talking about NGOs. It's all about cause marketing. They are all into social causes. not so much for profit, but for social good. So they are minimally politicized environments. The next level to that is what you call the moderately politicized environment. Now that environment, it's a notch higher than minimal. And that's where you begin to find people being at a bit of daggers drawn, where you find the man at the helm of affairs or woman will ultimately create clusters. They call them, these are my own people. They put those clusters, and before you know, the cluster of people begin to knock heads. That's where you find a moderately politicized environment. A notch higher is a highly politicized environment. This is the dangerous part. That's when you find people are daggers drawn. That's where you find people who would stab easily from the back. That's where you find people will try to edge others out. That's where really the sharks are at play, because the shark-infested river has been activated by a shark who has beaten another shark. And in a highly politicized environment, you'll find that there are no prisoners. Everybody is a victim. Now there's a notch higher. The notch higher is a pathologically politicized environment. This is one where toxicity is at its highest ebb. You find that in some organizations, some groups, where it is no longer about your health, it starts from fatigue, it starts from emotional fatigue, gets to mental fatigue, gets to psychological fatigue. The entire organization is fatigued because of this level of toxicity. What I'll say to you, if you find yourself in a pathologically politicized environment, check out for your own good, for your own mental health. If you find yourself in a highly politicized environment, you need to ask yourself, do you value what you have? Do they value what you have? Can some other person engage your service or take on your abilities without having to put you through this mental torture? The answer is yours to put to the table. And if you do, take the decision that is best for you and be able to exit. So the summary of it is, office politics is real. Is office politics bad? It's a function of the culture that is pervasive in that organization, whether it's minimal, moderate, highly politicized, or pathologically politicized. It's all in the pie. How are you going to slice and dice it? It's your decision. As a professional, you will know if you are in a highly politicized environment when leadership is very akin to fanning embers. You know, you'll find people say, you are the best, sir. You are the master. And the leaders will want to hear what they want to hear. And so certain people will sit in that glorious position of fanning their embers, telling them they are the best they ever could exist, when they know that that absolutely is false. It's a fake way of making progress because the man wants to hear what he wants to hear. That's a highly politicized environment. The second thing that you'll find in such an environment is that people tend to engage in a lot of gossip. Now, you're going to say gossip is natural. Yes, it is. But gossip that now moves into a factual mode. So today, when you have announcements that are meant to be made concerning promotions, concerning movements, and certain individuals are privileged to have access to that and then come bragging around it before it happens. And when it happens, it becomes like, I told you so. That is a highly politicized environment because somebody is being tipped and some other person is being engendered to spread the word and also feel good. To navigate office politics and maintain personal integrity requires a lot, but it requires having a firm understanding of your network. So let me step back and tell you 4 critical networks you must embrace. 1 is what I call the personal network. This is the family and friends. 2 is your professional network. 3 is what I call the strategic network. And finally, you have the organizational network. When you are able to situate yourself in 4 of those environments, meaning 4/4, the chances of you surviving office politics and also having what I call territorial preservation is very key. And your chances are high because within the industry, you'll be known. And within that industry, you'll also be seen as a thought leader. Within your organization, you'll be seen as an asset. Within your professional group, they'll see you as an expert who needs to be consulted. Within your friends and family, they'll find you as an ally and a go-to person. So if you are 4/4, you are secure. If you are 3/4, you're good. But if you are 2/4, you're just shaky. And if you are 1/4, you don't exist because the only thing you may have with you is just 1 out of the 4. And guess what? You're just sitting as prey in a safari. And it's just a matter of time. You'll be taken out. So my advice to you is go open your network. For you to have territorial preservation, there are certain things that you must have in play. Number 1, understand the style and interpersonal play in the organization or the setting you are in. What is the interface between leadership and the leaders? There's a difference between leadership and the leaders. In every organization, you'll find the board of directors, executive, non-executive directors. You may think they have no influence. A lot of them do. Most of the non-executive directors, like the chairman, if it's non-executive, will have some measure of influence. Oh, the chairman says we do this. Oh, the chairman says we do that. And you find the managing directors are just first amongst equals. But everybody in that play, from a leadership standpoint, is holding sway for someone. Could be for themselves or for an entity. They have stakes in the business. A click lower will be the management team, being the executive directors. So, or the directors or management team every day. Those that are seen to be doing the business of managing the business. Now, it's important that you have some level of, interface, have some advocates within that play. Doesn't have to be your functional director, but you must reach out and create what I call a stakeholder map. When you create a stakeholder map, the chances are that you will know who and who you need around you. Workplace favoritism is natural. You know why? You will always find someone that likes you, either in terms of looks or what you bring to the table. Now, it is what we do with that affinity that could actually be disruptive, destructive, or constructive. The chances between disruptive and destructive is when harassment get into play. So you find that because you are favored or because a certain kind of relationship exists between you and another party, then you will be compelled to do certain things. And when you do those things, it borders on your integrity. With leverage, your boss can leverage you. There's what I call BIT, B-I-T, the boss imposed time. There's what I call SIT, S-I-T, subordinate imposed time. And there's what I call PIT, P-I-T, that is your peer imposed time. So between the BIT, SIT, and PIT, you can actually get yourself totally clobbered and you may not work well. At the end, the results will show that you are not performing. Wherever you are having high challenge, low support, or low support and low challenge, you are going to be breeding all kinds of attitudes. And that's where the subordinate imposed time goes. When it comes to peer imposed time, your colleagues come to you every second. Oh, ID, I need your help with this. You attend to everybody, but not to your work. Before you know it, you'll be found wanting. Finally, boss imposed time. Your boss says, I need this urgently. Many of us fall prey to this. You can negotiate yourself out of it. Tell your boss, sir, can I get this to you by so time? Negotiation is a major ingredient of success when there's office politics and where there are situations where people are jostling for your time, negotiate. Never accept everything that you see. Negotiate. Ask for more time. And better still, if you ask for more time, nobody can hold it against you because you're in control. If you're not in control, someone is going to control you.